Hello everyone and welcome to part 36 of my F1 Challenge career mode. Today we're going to Brazil, to the Interlagos circuit, absolutely fantastic circuit which usually provides great racing in real life, and we have had alright races so far, but we've usually had an accident which meant we didn't score any points. We hope that changes today. We didn't score any points in the last race, so we need to get back on track and back in the championship hunt. As I now pass you over to the commentator.
Before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher is leading the Drivers' Championship, but having finished third in the last race, he'll be hoping to go a bit better and win here at Interlagos. Montoya, second. Rubens Barrichello, third. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. Ferrari lead the Constructors' Championship. Williams are second. McLaren are third. Located within the southern suburbs of Sao Paulo, the bumpy Interlagos circuit consists of two very distinct outer section combines two very long straights with fast sweeping turns, whilst the technical infield contains some very slow corners that demand absolute precision and leave no room for driver error.
So we jump into practice on heavy fuel. The car felt great, I thought. I was really enjoying the circuit, and my pace was okay, but of course it was on heavy fuel. And later on in the session, of course, Rubens Barrichello, I think, smashed it. Michael Schumacher smashed it at 1:14.5. But then I did have a moment later on high fuel, on lap 6 of my run, where I went very wide and across this grass bit. There's absolutely no grip on the grass, as you could expect. And I have finally programmed a traction control override button, because so I could spin the car around quicker, because that was a problem in Malaysia. But on low fuel, I wanted to see whether I could match the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher, and I did a 14.9, which is actually pretty close, so I was pretty happy with that. And then jumping into qualifying, just leaving the pits now, I probably have two of just the weirdest crashes to have in a qualifying session, I think, where I've got a car behind me in the pit lane here, arrows. I think it might be Enrique Benoldi, and I let him pass because I think I want to see what his pace is like. So I let him pass, go past the speed limit. So then you just go so slowly on that right hand, and I go straight into the back of him. So then we have to reset. So that's one lap done, and then we go out of the pits again, and of course we go into the speed limiter line, off the speed limiter, and then I just take too much speed, hit the grass, spin round, hit the wall, and then I actually completely roll over. So that's a massive accident. Of course, in real life, both those accidents would probably mean that I was out of qualifying, but luckily in the game we can carry on. Kimi Räikkönen had set the fastest time. We've beaten it at a 1:14.8, and actually turned out to be my fastest time. I couldn't improve because of how much traffic there was. But we'll now see where that gets us on the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Brazil for round 3 of the 2001 FIA Formula One World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Schumacher first. Coulthard consistently outpaced his championship rival, the BAR driver. Mika Häkkinen, third. Barrichello, fourth. The BAR driver performed brilliantly in qualifying to line up fifth. Juan Pablo Montoya, sixth. Räikkönen, seventh. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, eighth. Verstappen, ninth. Ralf Schumacher, 10th. Jarno Trulli, 11th. Eddie Irvine, 12th. Jean Alesi, 13th. Giancarlo Fisichella, 14th. Villeneuve was way off the pace of his teammate. He starts in 15th. Jenson Button, 16th. Luciano Berti, 17th. Pedro de la Rosa, 18th. Benoldi, 19th. Nick Heidfeld, 20th. Marquez, 21st. Fernando Alonso, 22nd.
So here we are then for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We are starting in 5th place. just behind the two McLarens and the Ferrari. Not too bad, not like our pole last race, but we have the lights. And it's lights out and away we go, as David Croft would say, and we've been swamped at the start by loads of cars, the Jordan and even the Sauber going past, the Williams going straight down the inside there, and even the arrows of Jos Verstappen are somehow made up into 8th place. Kimi Raikkonen manages to hold it round our outside. This is amazing stuff here. I don't know how Kimi Raikkonen managed to hold it round there, and how Jos Verstappen is currently in 8th place. Got Jensen Button right behind us. Will he ever go down to ski the Lago? No, he doesn't. Kimi Raikkonen goes straight past Jos Verstappen with no resistance at all. We should be looking at Jos Verstappen as soon as possible. Obviously, his pace won't be anything like ours or anything like the leaders, so we just need to get past him. And I'm pretty sure we're one of the heavy cars on the grids. We've got loads of fuel on board, and I think a lot of them are going very light, especially the Ferraris, as we lose control of the car beneath the arrows, and we somehow pull off the pass. Now, I was shaking myself up for a pass, but I did lose control of the car there. I somehow made the pass work. As you take a look at the replay of the start, so you can see it's just a poor getaway. Luckily, it wasn't like the first season I had here, where someone ploughed straight into the back of me and I lost my rear wing. But it's a clean start at least. But we had Kimi Raikkonen on our outside into turn 2, and he manages to hold it through the Senna S. I think it's called the Senna S here. As we go down the back straight, and we had Jensen Button right behind us in the Benetton. His straight line speed though was absolutely awful, so he couldn't actually get near us, as Kimi Raikkonen passed Jos Verstappen so easily into the ski de Lago. I don't know how he managed to do that. He just, like, Jos Verstappen was just so slow. I mean, the arrows are slow anyway, but I don't know how it managed to get up here. But we tried down the inside, and this long right-hander, but then we lost control trying to dart to the inside. I think we were originally going to the outside, and it turns out to be a really good move. There's very slight contact right at the end of the move, but I think we got away with that. Look from the Benetton perspective, and yeah, you can see there's a slight bit of contact, but we get away with it. As we now skip on to the end of lap 1, and we are slipstreaming Kimi Raikkonen down the back straight. Can we get him into turn 1? We've got the speed. We are closing, and he does brake really early, and we are past and up into 8th place. Only 2 places away from the points now, so we are working our way towards the points, and I'm pretty sure we've got heavier fuel, and we plan to do less stops than some of the cars in front, so it's looking good at the moment. As we take a look at a replay of that move, as the replays are finally working. I don't know why they weren't working before, but I tried resetting a few settings, and it finally worked. As we move on to the end of lap 3, we managed to get behind Heinz-Harald Frentzen. We kind of did a little train for a couple of laps, which was quite entertaining. But we are slipstreaming Heinz-Harald Frentzen into the first corner, then for no reason at all, he darts slightly to the inside. I look towards the outside, he closes back on the outside, and yeah, I crashed straight into the back of him. I'm pretty sure that is my fault. Obviously, I ran straight into the back of him. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating that, because now obviously we're going to have a long lap to the pits because it was right on the pit straight. But looking at a replay of the accident, we were just slipstreaming him down into turn 1, and he did brake really early, but I think it was entirely my fault for not actually avoiding the collision and then heading straight into the back of him. But we need to try and work now to try and get ourselves up the grid, because obviously we're going to be put near the back with the pit stop. And the lap was absolutely horrible, and of course I had to be careful up the hill not to take off. We're going into the pits. I couldn't actually remember where the line was, and I think we may have just got ourselves a stop-go penalty, which would be disastrous for our race. But let's go into the pits and see how long the pit stop is.
You're running 9th.
It's a 9.1 second pit stop. Heinz-Harald Frentzen retired from the race. We're about 6-7 seconds behind Fernando Alonso as we exit the pits. The speed limiter line is there, and yes, we have earned ourselves a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, absolutely terrible. On the next lap we do slow down in plenty of time. We've loaded ourselves with the maximum fuel we could, so I want to just go long so that when people pitted and stuff, they'd actually kind of like appear around me, and I'm pretty sure my solid pace will get myself up the grid anyway, and we'll have to pit somewhere like 5-6 laps towards the end. But we've got blue flags on lap 7 from the Ferraris. Of course, my car is easily the heaviest on the grid. I've never had the car this heavy before, and it felt awful, but I slowed down here, pulled to the left hand side, and they just weren't overtaking. I have no idea. Now, until I finally got on the brakes and went down to second gear, they both overtake. The Ferraris running in a 1-2 situation in this race so far. I mean, the Ferraris being Ferraris are fast, and then they were on something like 2 laps of fuel at this point. They were going crazy with their fuel strategy. I don't know what it was. I think they were going for maybe a 2-stop, 3-stop. I have no idea. But see, I pulled over the side, and Rubens Barrichello, I think it is, who's leading, or is it Ralf Schumacher? Ralf Schumacher? Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher was leading, but yeah, he just didn't pass me. I have no idea why he didn't pass me, but anyhow, we need to work on our race and actually catch up the Minardis, which actually took a long time. It took until lap 12 to catch up to the Minardis. I was really surprised by how long it took. Because of the heavy fuel, I was burning off so much fuel. I'm only now at the point I was when I started the race, but we're down Fernando Alonso. Got quite a gaggle of cars here, as we have Marquez in front of us. And we're now going to go all the way around the outside of Marquez. A very nice move. It was on a Minardi though, so it wasn't really much of a challenge. But I think it was pretty good nonetheless. But now we're looking at Pedro La Rosa. Where can we get him? Are we going to go try round the outside? No, we're not. We can't really overtake into this corner. There's nowhere to go. I think we're not going to be able to be close enough to launch it into the... Well, I guess it's the third to last corner, or the second to last corner? The last corner, depending on how you look at corners. But we're now slipstreaming Pedro La Rosa up to the line. And are we going to get him before the line? I think we are. We've got loads of straight line speed on the Jaguar. We're going around the outside of Pedro La Rosa. Are we going to get him into turn 1? And yes, we do. We've got Bernaldi 13 seconds ahead, who we catch up on lap 16. And we're going to pull off the same move, I think, as we did on Pedro La Rosa. But instead go down the inside, and job done. We've got Jenson Button just a second in front of us, so we need to catch up Jenson Button and pass him for 14th place. Mika Hakkinen leads this race. The McLaren's going on a slightly different strategy to Ferrari. Now obviously I do hope to be battling with them again as we go down the inside of Jenson Button, and we just about make the move stick. Yes, we do. But the championship battle, I think we will get involved with it again. It's just obviously with the accident we're currently battling out in the midfield, but as you can see from my pace, I am easily faster than a lot of these cars, and it just involves them whether having accidents or not as to how my race goes. We go down the inside of Eddie Irvine. He's actually holding it around the outside here. We're not going to be able to do what we did to Jenson Button, but there's no space again on this left-hander. I don't think we're going to be close enough into the last corner, so I think we're going to have to do exactly the same move as we did to Pedro La Rosa a while ago in the race. It's now lap 25. I've only got 4 laps of fuel on board. Now my tyres were actually really going off at this point. I hadn't really experienced that much tyre wear in this game. Obviously there's no visual effect to it, but until now, I mean, the car was sliding around low pace. I mean, it was on low fuel, which meant I did have better pace than people, but it really wasn't that great. And of course Eddie Irvine didn't have that much fuel on board. There's only 9 laps to go, and he's got fresher tyres, and he was actually reasonably near my pace, which I was really surprised by. But we take a look at a replay of the little battle with Eddie Irvine, which I found to be quite entertaining. Eddie Irvine obviously not having a great time on my career mode, scoring more points last season than he did at Ferrari, as we slipstreamed him all the way down the main straight, and then we went down the inside, and it was nice and easy on Eddie Irvine. But his pace was phenomenal in the Jaguar. I was really surprised by that. And of course, our teammate, I forgot to mention it earlier, had a clutch problem on the grid and never set off. So there's no chance he's going to be in the points as we pull in for our last pit stop of the day. And we'll see where we come out compared to the rest and see if we can get any points. I think the points are way out of our league though, especially as this season we've got 3 big teams. You know, we've got McLaren, we've got Ferrari, and we've got Williams, and their pace is really good, so they usually lock out the point positions. As on lap 32, sorry about that, on lap 32 or 35, we're going down the inside of Nick Heidfeld, the same place as Eddie Irvine. Slight contact, but he's holding it around our outside. Now we can get him around the outside of this left-hander. No, we're not. He's still there on the inside. And then are we going to try around the outside at the last corner? And we have, but he held on for a long, long time. As we take a look at a replay of the move, and you can see out of this corner, I got a really good drive on the Sauber, and my pace was absolutely phenomenal on these fresh tyres, low fuel, because I had fresh tyres to everyone else. I set the fastest lap of the race, and I was going at something like 3.5 seconds quicker than a lot of people, despite being on the same fuel just because of tyres, and of course my pace was better than theirs. But we went round the outside of Nick Heidfeld, nice and easy, job done. As towards the end of the race, we had Jarno Trulli just in front of us, and we caught up something like 8 seconds in the past 2 laps. But that's going to be the end of this race, and I'll pass you over to the results.
Well done. You haven't scored any points, but at least you finished the race.
At the end of an amazing Brazilian Grand Prix, here are the final results. Mika Hakkinen first. David Coulthard second. Schumacher third. Juan Pablo Montoya fourth. Rubens Barrichello fifth. Schumacher 6th. The BAR driver 10th.
So yeah, that's a disappointing race here in Interlagos. No points again, 10th place. We did unlap ourselves, but the McLarens get a 1-2, which is just sensational for them. My old team, I do hope they do well, but obviously I want to beat them, and we need to get ourselves back in the championship fight before we fall too far behind. So now we'll look at the drivers' standings.
With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher extends his lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship.
So as you can see from the driver standings, it's incredibly close at the top of the grid. Top 5 covered by 7 points, and I am behind them, a long way behind, but I'm pretty sure with one good result and one of them having problems, we'll be straight back up there. So we'll now take a look at the constructors' standings.
Lead the Constructors' Championship, but with a reduced points advantage. McLaren are second, followed by the third place Williams.
So there we are then, in 4th place, got Jordan, who we have to look at, and Sauber after that race. I'm pretty sure are pretty threatening. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like if you do. I really want to see a lot of support in this video. I hope to release San Marino really quick after this, guy. I really like that San Marino Grand Prix. But I will say, bye-bye.